Good morning, Kuhner country. Okay, a lot, and I mean a lot to talk about today. Obviously, the huge story over the weekend, it was behind enemy lines, and it was not a Hollywood movie. On Friday, an American F-15E fighter jet was struck, it appears, by an Iranian missile, and the plane was badly damaged. Both pilots had to eject. At the speed that they were flying, an ejection means that they would be separated miles and miles apart. And so, both of them were wounded, they were on the ground, and they were deep inside Iranian territory. A hunt began to try to either capture our airmen, in which the Iranian mullahs were desperate to grab at least one, and then parade them in front of the cameras to use them as a propaganda victory, in which those poor airmen or airmen, if they only got one, would have been beaten, tortured, publicly humiliated, and in many ways could have changed the direction of the war. By the grace of God, we were able to rescue the first airman fairly quickly. But it was the second one. Word then got out after we rescued the first one that there was a second airman and that he was somewhere, we didn't know where, but it was deep inside Iranian territory. On Iran state media, they announced that an American fighter jet had been shot down, 2 pilots had ejected, and now the hunt was on to seize them, to capture them, or on our side, to rescue and extract them. The country prayed over Saturday and into Sunday. And what we're now hearing, it's literally short, it's nothing short, forgive me, of a miracle. It was an Easter miracle. The downed pilot, a colonel, the name is yet to be released, was injured from being shot down and obviously from the ejection. However, his training kicked in. He found himself near a mountain. He clung to that. He went up to the mountain. He climbed over 7,000 feet, injured as he was, and then desperately clung to a ridge, waiting for a rescue. The Iranians were closing in on him. He knew that his days were potentially numbered. However, our people found him first, and then we deployed a special operations team in one of the most brave, frankly brilliant, precise operation rescue missions in military history. And we sent our forces in, we located this airman, which is like finding, as one person said, on Fox News, this is not finding a needle in a haystack. This is finding needles among needles in a haystack. It was absolutely incredible that we were able to even detect this person, never mind rescue him. Special operations went in, and then they encountered gunfire. Iranian militias, Iranian troops were closing in. And so special operations had to engage. There was fierce gunfire between us and Iranian forces. And yet we managed to not only successfully save and extract and rescue this second down airman, but in that firefight in which the special operations gave our rescuers the time they needed to rescue and extract that airman, not a single casualty. No one died. Everybody came out alive, at least from our end. Most military experts said the chances of that are next to nil. This was a 1 in a billion operation. And what it showed to me was really three things. Number one, this was an Easter miracle. It was. Number two, we have the bravest, most lethal, most precise, most professional, the finest military fighting force in the world. No other military could have done what we just did. And number three, what this operation shows is how dangerous sending in ground troops into Iran would be. Because the question now is, will we send in special operations forces to potentially extract and seize the highly enriched uranium that remains buried deep inside Iran under 3 Iranian nuclear sites? If it was this high risk to save a single airman, imagine a week-long operation, and that's what it would take, a week, to go deep into Iran, create a kind of makeshift airfield, to then send in planes and troops and regular infantry, and then create sort of a perimeter, and then fight off Iranian forces, troops, drones, missiles, bombs, as we dump massive excavating equipment like bulldozers and tractors, and we slowly try to dig out from under the rubble to go all the way down to grab that highly enriched uranium with a team of nuclear scientists. It's going to be a bloodbath. Now, could we possibly do it? Yes, of course. But now you know why Trump is reluctant to do this kind of an operation, because if it's so difficult to get one airman and it's such high risk, imagine the incredible risk of going deep into Iran, not for 12 hours to save one man and engage in a massive firefight, who was hiding 7,000 feet, clinging to a crevice, clinging to a ledge, praying to be rescued, but to stand there, create an airfield, dump building and excavation equipment, dig stuff from underneath the ground, and have soldiers try to hold that position as we send nuclear scientists deep underground to grab the uranium, secure the uranium, put them in cylinders, and then put them on planes and fly them out. By the grace of God, our 2 airmen came home, wounded but alive. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, my friends, you can text the Kuhner Man, 70470, 70470. The moment we load up the lines, I want to go right to the phones. This is Larry on Messenger. Jeff, the incredible rescue operation also shows night and day what happens when you remove ridiculous, quote-unquote, rules of engagement of either George W. Bush, Barack Obama, Joe Manchin, and I'll let our military loose. No question, Larry. When you have those kind of rules of engagement that Bush put on, Obama put on, Biden put on, you can't do anything with with one arm tied behind your back. And in some cases, both arms tied behind your back. So, and you're seeing the American military now perform like no other fighting force on earth. That's a lot. As some of the media reports were pointing out, it takes a tremendous amount of training, discipline, preparation, hard work to be able to pull off an incredible, precise, really brilliant, daring rescue operation that we were able to pull off over the weekend. Now, On top of this rescue operation, miraculous as it was, impressive, brilliant as it was, behind it all lay now Trump's ultimate ultimatum. As you know, NATO countries are not coming to unblock the Strait of Hormuz. The Iranian mullahs refuse to unblock the strait. Global oil prices keep climbing. Inflation is going up. The world economy now is soon going to go into a recession. And on top of all of that, fertilizer, 1/3 of the world's fertilizer goes through the Strait of Hormuz. Fertilizer is vital to grow food crops. If things don't change quickly with the Strait of Hormuz, i.e., if the blockade is not smashed or lifted, countries in Africa, countries in Asia, countries around the world are going to be facing food supply shortages. There may even be now the threat of starvation in certain countries. Gas rationing is already taking place in Japan, in South Korea, in Malaysia, the Philippines. I could go on and on. And so the pressure now is building on President Trump to force the mullahs to a ceasefire, to break their back, and have them unblock the Strait of Hormuz. And so President Trump delivered, as I said, the ultimate ultimatum. I can't read all of it on the air because there are expletives and I would be fined. Literally, I would be fined. But essentially, let me clean it up. Here is now what he has said. Tuesday, meaning tomorrow, will be Power Plant Day and Bridge Day, all wrapped up in one in Iran. There will be nothing like it. I can't say the word on the air, open the effing strait, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah. President Trump is now telling the mullahs and the remnants of the leadership, the theocracy in Iran, you have until, in fact, he gave him a specific deadline. You have until Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So tomorrow, 8 p.m., unblock the Strait of Hormuz and sign a ceasefire, or we will destroy, the U.S. military, along with Israel, will destroy every bridge in Iran, every electrical power plant in the whole country, and smash the country's civilian infrastructure to pieces. The only thing now he may have left out, and we'll find out tomorrow, is whether we will also strike the desalination plants, i.e. the plants that, filter water. The Middle East, they need water. It's mostly desert, outside of the oil, obviously. And so if you don't have desalination plants, which cleans up all the salt, filters the salt from the water, and then provides their people with drinking water, you destroy desalination plants. I'm telling you right now, the people are going to starve. They're going to have massive dehydration. It will be hell on earth. It could potentially trigger a massive humanitarian crisis, the likes we have not seen in a very long time. Now, I'm hoping and praying that President Trump will not strike the desalination plants, because if the people have no water, they will die. Now, the risk and the gamble is this. Trump is hoping that by smashing their electric and civilian infrastructure, This will force the mullahs to submit. It will break their back. Okay, my friends, you're going to hear it later today in the last segment of the show. The best way to listen to the Kuhner Report is on the iHeartRadio app. And now we're launching something brand new. Kuhner's Talk Back, tit for tat. Just look for the red microphone in the upper right corner of the app. Leave a message for me, for Sandy, for Mike. Agree, disagree, respond, react, anything goes. Leave your talkbacks anytime during the week. And every Monday, like today, in the final segment, we will play the best ones on the air. So download the iHeart app, hit that red microphone, and join Kuhner's Talk Back, tit for tat. And Mike says, okay, today's a very funny one. All right, I'm looking forward to it, Mike. Okay, my friends. So two issues on the table. Number one, the daring, incredible rescue, by the way, unprecedented in American history, that we were able to rescue not one, but 2 U.S. pilots deep in enemy territory, from the same plane. Absolutely incredible. And a firefight emerged for the 2nd Airmen, and it was near a mountain in a crevices. The pilot had to climb about 7,000 feet, even though that pilot was badly wounded. And he was just clinging to the ledge of the mountain ledge, hoping, praying that the U.S. side would come and rescue him before the Iranians got him, and God knows what they would have done to him. We sent in our special operations forces in a daring rescue mission. There was a massive firefight that took place. We got our guy out, and no one, and I mean no one on our side, was killed or even wounded. We took no casualties whatsoever. Incredible. On top of that, so A, what do you make of the rescue mission? And does this caution us against boots on the ground, especially to extract the uranium that is deep inside Iran's territory? I'm just asking. Secondly, Trump's very blunt, expletive-laden ultimatum has caused a tremendous amount of controversy both here and around the world. Trump now has told the mullahs, either you unblock the Strait of Hormuz and sign a ceasefire tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or essentially, as Trump puts it, we will blow the hell out of your country. We will blow it to smithereens. He says that he will destroy every bridge in Iran, every electric power plant in Iran, all civilian infrastructure. The only thing he has not mentioned, it's part of the civilian infrastructure, but he has not mentioned, as I said, are the desalination plants. In other words, their ability to filter water and drink water. Iran now, in anticipation, has already launched devastating strikes over the weekend against Kuwait, against the United Arab Emirates, and against Bahrain. They have hit civilian infrastructure, not just oil refineries, although they did hit those, but they're now hitting civilian infrastructure, power plants in those countries, and in Kuwait, which is very dangerous, they did strike and damage a desalination plant. Now remember, Kuwait is all desert. I mean, they have oil and sand. That's it. The only water they have is from the ocean. You don't filter that water, it's useless. So if you start blowing up desalination plants, that means there's no drinking water. People are going to dehydrate. People are going to starve. People are going to die. It could lead to a massive humanitarian crisis. Iran vows that if Trump strikes at civilian infrastructure tomorrow, they will then begin to level the rest of the Persian Gulf with their own drone strikes, bombs, and missiles targeting desalination, power plants, all of the oil infrastructure. Essentially, the region will be smashed to pieces. It may be a bluff. It may not be a bluff. But my question to you, do you support Trump's ultimatum? And now has he essentially backed himself into a corner? Because if he doesn't follow through, he will have lost credibility. He will be seen as a paper tiger. If he does go through with it, then we've crossed, to me, another line. You may disagree with me, but it's obvious. The mullahs came out yesterday defiant, saying, go ahead, bomb us, destroy everything. We don't care. Every bridge, our entire electric grid, roads, schools, smash it all to pieces. Because as far as they're concerned, the more now we hit civilian targets, the more the civilian population will turn against us. A population that was sympathetic to us, opposed to the mullahs, opposed to the regime. But now, think about it from their point of view. If you can't drink water, if you don't have functioning toilets, if you have no electricity whatsoever, if you can't go to work, if you can't get access to food, if you start to go hungry, if, say in Boston, somebody, a foreign power blew up the Zakim Bridge, or on the Cape, the Bourne Bridge, you can't visit your family, you can't go to work, food is not able to be brought in, you would start to turn on the country that's bombing you. Not because you love the regime, but because you're being bombed. And so the risk now is that the civilian population will become so angry and so embittered against the United States that this could in fact strengthen and consolidate the regime. Trump is banking on the opposite. That faced with this kind of national ruin and despair and devastation, that the people of Iran will rise up finally and overthrow the Ayatollahs. And so my question to you, what do you make of Trump's ultimatum? Do you support the ultimatum? And do you support Trump's decision, should he decide now, as he put it, to rain hell on Iran's civilian infrastructure? As he put it, Tuesday is Bridge Day and Plant Day all in one. All the bridges will be destroyed. All the power plants will be destroyed. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, let's go to Vince in Deutschland, in Germany. Thanks for holding, Vince, and welcome.
Thanks for taking my call, Jeff. Hey, I used to serve in those units that conducted that rescue. And let me tell you, we practiced that stuff morning, noon, and night. We lived it every day. Like, we went through scenario after scenario. If it wasn't combat search and rescue, it was establishing airfields in austere environments, like behind enemy lines, dirt airstrips, to set up like an airdrome right above you. And that pilot, I mean, someday they're going to make a movie about it, and people aren't going to believe it. They're going to be like, that's unbelievable. I mean, the precision air power that we have, it's unbelievable. How we can see things.
Oh, Vince, I'm up against it. Can you just hang on, please? Okay, let's go right back to Vince in Germany. Vince obviously served in our military, served proudly, and he said he used to be part of it, similar to the team that rescued that incredible rescue over the weekend, the Easter miracle on Sunday, whereby the second downed airman was rescued by a special operations team, a commando team that fought off the Iranian soldiers, Iranian forces. It was a vicious firefight, and he was up 7,000 feet on a crevice in a mountain, which is what you're trained to do, and he tried to remain as stealthy as possible, as unnoticeable as possible. He was badly wounded and just waited and waited and waited. And we came, and by the grace of God and incredible training on our side, we rescued him. Vince, you're saying you practice this morning, noon, and night over and over again, whether it's for wartime, whether incoming fire, whether it's a civilian, for a civilian purpose, and then we had to go to break. So please, Vince, pick up where you left off.
Well, what I was saying was when the pilot got shot down, they scrambled the combat search and rescue aircraft, which are actually special operations aircraft that can be refueled in the air. The helicopters, the MH-60 helicopters, which we lost two of them searching for those guys, right? They picked one up and then, well, they got one out right away. The other one had a exfil the crash site injured. And that's what you're trained to do. The Air Force has survival, evasion, resistance, and escape, just like every service does. But the Air Force's school is manned by people that's all they do. That's what they're trained to do, is to teach seer how to snare small game, how to scale cliffs, how to make makeshift shelters, things to do in austere environments when you're out there trying to survive off the land and people are after you. I mean, pilots in World War II didn't have this stuff. Not until Vietnam did they start getting this type of training. You know what I mean? And now it's a profession. Pararescue men, all they do is they're paramedics, right? They're like special operations capable EMTs that can do surgery in the field, but they're also trained in high angle rescue, which means that they can scale cliffs, they can set up rope systems, they can put litters coming down the side, scaling the sides of cliffs to rescue people that have landed in the worst types of places. That's their profession. That's what they do. And everything was in support of that. That's why the SEALs were involved, because they provided the oomph when they had to land on the ground and fight off the bad guys to protect the team to rescue the pilot, But what I wanted to say about it is the cost in total, which we lost one F-15E Strike Eagle, two MC-130s, two MQ-9 Reapers, one A-10, two MH-60 helicopters, one AH-6 Little Bird, and I believe an F-35 was brought down by an SA-7, which is a shoulder-fired surface-to-air missile, kind of like a Stinger missile, but it's the Russian version thereof. And they say that the Iranians had Russian ones that they reverse-engineered and made themselves. These people aren't dumb. These people are very crafty. And what I wanted to say is they went into a hornet's nest to get this guy. This guy landed in the worst of places, and yes, they were able to rescue him. But can we afford this? Can we afford this to go on? All of this hardware that we lost, it's just cast it off. You know what it reminded me of, Jeff? The German Army, man. The German Army made the best equipment, but they just lost through attrition, They just lost through attrition. That's what happened. And me living in Germany, it's I've been studying it for the last 3 years. I just went to the Deutsche Panzer Museum, and you go in there and you see the most impressive tanks. But guess what? They didn't make a lot of them. They didn't make enough of them, because they show a Sherman that looks like a toy next to a Tiger tank, And they said it took 5 Shermans to destroy one Tiger. But guess what? The Americans had 7, 8, 9 Shermans to that one Tiger. And that's what we're facing, attrition.
Vince, let me ask you this, as someone who served, and obviously you know what you're talking about. I'm just curious. What the Pentagon is saying is these are lucky shots. You know, they downed another plane recently. We rescued that team as well. This one, we had the very daring rescue. But they are starting to down planes. It's not many, but they're downing them. My understanding was we had air, not superiority, we had air dominance. As Trump said, we could basically fly at will, bomb at will. How are the Iranians still, if their air force is gone, their navy is finished, their air defenses have been utterly decimated, how are they still able to take our planes down here and there? And do we really have air dominance? What say you?
Well, I think they're fighting a 21st century war. They're using what's cheap and expendable, and that's the drones. That's their missiles. Those are their cluster missile munitions. Have you seen those dropping on Tel Aviv? It like breaks. It looks like fireworks, and it shoots off in 20 different directions. And each one of those things hits the ground, and it's like boom, takes out like the corner of an apartment building or something. You know what I mean? It's crazy. People are living through that right now. I mean, back in America, it's just on what's on TV, right, or what you see on the internet. I mean, people are living through this right now, you know, and it's escalating. And all I'm saying is they sent in these guys to rescue this one pilot, and it's a hornet's nest. They lost all these aircraft. They lost all these aircraft that I just named, just to get that one guy. So what happens when they try to go in there into all these little crevices, this mountainous area, to find these dudes, to find these sites, to find these surface-to-air missiles that are you know, hidden? It's kind of like Iwo Jima, right? These old veterans that are still alive, if there's any alive from World War II, Iwo Jima, how long did that take? Mount Suribachi.
Interesting. Vince, as always, very educational. Thank you so much for that call. Well, that's why Trump is very reluctant to give a green light to send in our troops, special operations forces, conventional infantry, to go in and grab the enriched uranium that's way underneath, to extract it, to seize it, to pull it out, because it's very high risk. And the probability is that we're going to lose some soldiers, maybe even a lot of soldiers. And so that's why Trump, as he said when he addressed the nation, it's almost like he would prefer to just keep satellites on it. And if the Iranians try to make a move towards the enriched uranium, hit it with missiles. Because, as Vince pointed out, just to extract one airman, we lost a lot of equipment. Special operations had to come in, Navy SEAL Team 6. And there was a lot of gunfire. And, you know, we're lucky no one was killed. I mean, it was also skill, training, no question. But still, you have military general after military general saying it's almost unheard of that nobody got killed in that kind of a firefight. So, again, if we're going to send in troops into Iran, we need to be ready to understand there will be blood that's shed, and American boys and girls, our men and women, are going to be coming home in body bags. 617-266-6868. Okay, very quickly, I'm getting a lot of people emailing me and messaging me saying, Jeff, I don't understand. Iran's Navy has been destroyed, finished. Their Air Force wiped out. How are they still blocking the Strait of Hormuz? I don't understand. Here is what the Iranians did. They have very little, I mean, it's very low tech. It's so low tech, you know, as Vince points out, these are 80, 90, $100 million planes and stealth fighter jets and carriers that we have that could, you know, some of the most impressive pieces of firepower you can find in the world, ever, in history. And so this is so low tech, it's almost like What do we do? It's so beneath us. It's like, well, we almost don't know how to counter it, right? So they're on very small boats. And on these small boats in the Strait of Hormuz, they're just dropping mines to the bottom of the Strait of Hormuz. And so the problem now is that if ships or tankers with oil or fertilizer or whatever want to get through, these mines can be detonated and blow up the ship, and the whole cargo is finished. You lose everything. Some of the ships may even go to the bottom of the Strait of Hormuz. What the Iranians also have is they have coastal defenses. So they have missiles that they're able to fire from the coastline. They have drones that they can unleash from the coastline, which is exactly what they're doing. So French ships are being harassed. Saudi ships are being harassed. Kuwaiti ships are being harassed. That's why the oil is not getting out. Because the drones, if they attack the ship, that's it. They will blow a hole in the ship. They also have what are called anti-ship missiles. Again, as Vince described, they're almost surface-to-air missiles. In other words, you could just carry them on your shoulder. They're very low technology. But to hit a target, they're very effective. So they just run, they see a ship, and if they want to blow it, just, launch a missile from your shoulder, kaboom. They rupture the hull or a part of the ship, and everything goes down. So Iran, before the war, it was free navigation of the Strait of Hormuz. Complete free navigation. Now, because of the war, Iran has completely blocked the Strait of Hormuz with their mines, with drones, with anti-ship missiles. And now they are charging, as we speak, they are charging about $2 million, a fee, $2 million per tanker, per ship, to be allowed to go through the Strait of Hormuz. So they're actually, as the war is going on now, collecting revenue and cash to buy more weapons, to build more missiles, potentially to rebuild maybe their nuclear capability. And what the Iranian regime has now said is that when this war ends, they will continue to exert control and an iron grip over the Strait of Hormuz, and they will charge now a fee. They're basically going to extort. They're going to, it's like an extortion racket. They're going to extort the rest of the world, sort of like mob bosses. Any ship that goes through has to pay us a cut. You don't pay us a cut, we don't let you through. You try to navigate a ship or, have a ship be escorted, we will blow that ship up, or we're going to launch a missile, or we're going to launch a drone attack. And so no ship gets through without paying a toll. And of course, Trump doesn't want that, because that means the world's oil supply will be in the hands of the mullahs, and they will have a stranglehold over one of the world's key waterways and key choke points. And they can rebuild within a matter of years. With the kind of cash that they're going to be bringing in, they can rebuild their missile capability, their military, their nuclear program. And so Trump wants the Strait of Hormuz unblocked, and he wants, obviously, free navigation restored. Hence, the ultimatum for tomorrow. 617-266-6868. I hope that explains it. George in Rowley. Thanks for holding, George, and welcome.
And Jeff. Hey, I just had a couple of thoughts when you were talking this morning about blowing up the electrical plants. One is, if they blow them up, doesn't that negate the desalinization plants? I mean, don't they need electricity to operate?
I don't know if they have backup power. I don't know specifically, but yes, that will damage the desalination plants. Look, Iran is going to run out of, if they do this, if their toilets won't function, their plumbing won't function, they eventually will not have drinking water. event. There's
Okay,
no
so
whether they hit the desalination plants or not. You take out a country's entire look. Imagine if a country, China, Russia, whatever, attacked us and destroyed our civilian infrastructure. No electricity, like for days and weeks and potentially months. What would happen? I mean, just think of the effects of that. No one can use computers. You have no power. The grocery stores, how can you freeze meat and fruits and vegetables? I mean, it will shut society down. And eventually, I believe they will lose the ability to have clean drinking water. And that's why it could lead to a potential humanitarian nightmare. And my fear, George, is, I understand his thinking. His thinking is, I'm going to break their back. I'm going to hit them so hard, as he said, like nothing they've ever been hit like this before. And the people are going to say enough, and they're going to rise up, and they're going to overthrow this regime, and it's done. But what if they don't rise up? Because as I said on X last night, you're dealing with fanatics. Fanatics. They're willing to burn their whole country down, to die as martyrs for Allah, and to stand up to the great and little Satan, Israel and the United States. And so then what? We're going to what? Smash Iran to pieces? This is going to lead to a massive migration crisis. It's going to destabilize countries in the region. They're going to pour into Europe again. It's going to lead potentially to hunger and starvation. And we're taking a population that in many ways loves us, is, quite pro-American. And we're going to, I fear, have them turn against us. Because who's bombing them? We are. I'm not talking now about military installations and, nuclear sites and, their Navy, their Air Force, their air defenses, their ballistic missiles. We're talking now about, look, the biggest bridge in Tehran was blown up about 3-4 days ago. People there are enraged. Why? They can't go to work. They can't see their parents. They can't see family. They can't. Now, it's hard to move stuff into certain areas of Tehran because there's no bridge. So now you got people lining up for food. There's already a massive shortage of food in Iran. So people are like, hey, we love America. We don't like the mullahs. But why are you taking this out on us? So my fear is that this is going to boomerang against us. It's going to turn the Iranian people ultimately against us. Now, I could be wrong. I don't know what intelligence Trump is being given. Maybe his people with the spies on the ground are saying they're very close to rising up. I mean, they're so close. We take out some of their civilian infrastructure, take out the electricity. Maybe they can rise up at night. It's going to be harder for the Iranians to track their people. Maybe frustration is at a boiling level. We just need to push it in a little bit further. I don't know. I can just tell you from everything I'm reading and just common sense, if you start bombing civilian infrastructure, you're going to turn the civilian population against the countries that are bombing, even if they hate the regime. I mean, I wouldn't like to be bombed. I wouldn't like my children to not have water or food. I wouldn't like to have no electricity. I wouldn't like to have every bridge around me blown up so I can't work. I can't see it. I don't have family here, but if I did. So, I mean, think about it. My country is being destroyed in front of my eyes. Now, let's say it happened under Obama or under Biden. I hate Biden. I hate Obama. But I'm going to hate the country that's bombing me as well. So, if anything, it may force the Iranians to start to rally, or at least start to sympathize or strengthen the hand of the regime and consolidate their power. So that's why I said on X, and it wasn't popular, but I said, Mr. President, please don't do it. There's other ways. There's other ways to unblock the Strait of Hormuz. But now, when you start destroying power plants and bridges and, literally civilian infrastructure, ay, ay, ay. Ay, ay, ay. And what if the people don't rise up? And then what? Then, we've destabilized and destroyed Iran. And I believe the Iranian people then will never forgive us. So we've turned potential friends and allies into enemies. George, what say you?
Well, I thought we had the ability to hack into their plants instead and just turn them off so we can turn them back on after. And also, wouldn't the power plants go down? Wouldn't that also affect all the ventilation shafts and all these tunnels they have, so they wouldn't be able to?
That's true. Yes. Oh, look. Trump's argument is this is like dual use. Okay, President Trump now delivers the ultimate ultimatum to the leaders of Iran, the remnants of the Mullah regime. Either you unblock the Strait of Hormuz and essentially sign a ceasefire, or, as he put it, all hell will rain down. He says that he will destroy every bridge, every power plant, civilian infrastructure in Iran to break their back and force them to submit. A, do you think Trump will follow through on this threat? And B, should the president now dramatically escalate the war, especially since he now claims essentially militarily we've won it? And so if we've won it, why are we now going to hammer Iran and its people back to the Stone Age? Do you agree with his threat and possibility of obliterating their electric grid, their civilian infrastructure, their bridges, or do you believe Trump is making a mistake? 617-266-6868. Arthur in Chestnut Hill. Thanks for holding, Arthur, and welcome.
It sure would have been of great advantage to us if we still had Afghanistan. And it was certainly, we would have had bases right next door instead of the stupidity of giving up a country that we control with limited forces and a great base. It certainly would have helped out a lot. And in Iran today, all I've seen, and I've seen it for 47 years, is death to America. So all these wonderful Iranians that are there, that are supposed to be, waiting for us, well, we're not going to be able to come and help them if they don't help. And if they haven't risen up now with the atrocities that they've experienced, I don't think they're going to do it until we win. And you can't have unconditional surrender with fanatics like this unless you rain upon them hell like they've never seen. Look what it took in World War II when we went after Japan, and we had to do it after what happened in Okinawa and especially Iwo Jima. We dropped one atomic bomb, and that still didn't do it. We dropped a second atomic bomb, and they still wanted to go on until the emperor stepped in. And also, we turned around and destroyed Tokyo as well. 3 major cities, all destroyed. They still wanted to go on. Now, the first thing you want to do in any war is take out all the bridges. I don't know why threats and threats and threats. You don't make threats in war. You owe it to your country, and you owe it to your military to go in there and use the most effective force to turn around and get the war over with as soon as possible. And don't forget, we didn't start this war. They've been attacking us. They've been at war with us since the Ayatollah walked in, thanks to Jimmy Carter, way back when. And the fact that we can't close the open the Straits of Hormuz. How about the countries that are on the other side of the Strait of Hormuz? Well, they can't turn around and take out a few boats laying mines. I mean, that there are things such as minesweepers. There is simple equipment that can work. And I don't know why Trump has to continuously turn around and conduct this war in the media, meet in secret, and just obliterate them. That's what happens in any war. That's what happened in Germany, in Berlin. That's what happened in Japan. Everything will be rebuilt afterwards. And as a matter of fact, in all the countries that we destroyed, their cities are better off today than ours in our country that weren't bombed. So that shouldn't even be a consideration. But the Iranians that are there now, they are not helping us, and they're still screaming death to America and death to Israel. And don't forget, look at the way they're negotiating the war. They send missiles. They don't attack military targets for the most part. They attack civilian sites, trying to kill innocent non-combatants. And we're supposed to care what we do to them. The sooner we get this war over, the sooner that we free Iran, liberate Iran, then probably all the Iranians, the good Iranians who are in this country, will go back to Iran and make it like the prince said, pro-American, pro-Israel, and give us a great friend in the Middle East like we once had. I mean, it's disgraceful what Obama and Biden did. The kings of limited war engagement, rules of engagement. Whoever the hell heard of that in war? All that does is help your enemy.
Oh,
and by the way,
that's what happened. I mean, you're right. Look, no one empowered the mullahs more than Obama. There's no question. And what Biden did in Afghanistan to me was unforgivable. Unforgivable. And Arthur, I hear all these lefties in the media and all these Democrats going on about the cost of saving these 2 airmen that were downed. But they don't mention the $80 to $85 billion that Biden cost us in Afghanistan when he just left with our tail between our legs. See, then they had no problem. The same left-wing media and the same Democrats, when Biden and Milley, left our base in Kabul and left all of these, our best helicopters, best fighter jets. Okay, my friends, I want to read to you the ultimatum that Trump delivered on Easter Sunday, yesterday morning. It's created a lot of controversy, not just here in the United States, but as I said earlier, all over the world. And look, in essence, what he's saying is either unblock the Strait of Hormuz or the United States and Israel combined will obliterate, destroy, wipe out all of your bridges, all of Iran's electric power plants, and there is civilian infrastructure. In other words, you won't have much of an economy, a society, or a country left by the time we're done with you. So, either we could do this the easy way or the hard way. But he used expletives. And he invoked Allah. And so I want to read to you exactly what he said. So, by the way, his ultimatum, the ultimate red line now, his ultimatum is tomorrow, Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So if by 8:01 tomorrow evening, they have not signed a ceasefire or agreed to unblock the Strait of Hormuz, then Trump will massively escalate the war. It will be fire and fury, maybe the most ferocious missile bombardment campaign in the history of war. I mean, he is going to decimate Iran's internal infrastructure. Listen now to what he said. Quote, Tuesday will be power plant day and bridge day, all wrapped up in one in Iran. There will be nothing like it. 3 exclamation points. He uses the F-bomb. I cannot say it. I'll be fined. Open the effing straight, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah. Now, let me read to you. Sorry, let me play the cut. My bad. Let me play the cut. This is Fake Tapper, Jake Tapper on CNN, where he reads the threat to Iran live on air. And he's warning the audience, if you have children, they may not want to be in the room. Roll cut 5, Mike.
The injured airman survived being shot down behind enemy lines, CNN has learned, by hiding alone in a mountain crevice before he was rescued in a massive effort involving hundreds of American military and intelligence personnel. But if you were wondering how the success of that operation might affect the president's posture toward Iran moving forward, wonder no longer. He has just threatened Iran in extraordinary graphic terms, giving the Iranian regime just over a day to either make a deal, reopen the Strait of Hormuz, or face hell. If your children are watching, be warned, the president did not use polite language. Quote, Tuesday will be Power Plant Day and Bridge Day, all wrapped up in one in Iran. There will be nothing like it. Open the strait, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. We should note that destroying civilian power infrastructure is generally considered to constitute a war crime under international law, though the president could argue that the infrastructure has dual use and also is utilized by Iran's military.
So basically, these are war crimes if Trump does go after civilian infrastructure. And by the way, the implication is clear. If they are war crimes, Trump, once the Democrats come back to power in November, they will impeach him on being a war criminal. And if they go after him on war crimes and being a war criminal, they don't want to just overthrow him from office. They want to put him behind bars for the rest of his life, maybe even execute him. So they're trying to lay the groundwork that this is a criminal war being now led by a war criminal should he go after the civilian infrastructure. But the bigger point is that he should not have been using this kind of foul language, this kind of graphic language. I want you to listen now to Stephen A. Smith. I don't really care for him, but he likes to mouth off on politics, and he does have a following. And he kind of sums up what many in the media, what many liberals are saying. Roll cut 6, Mike.
Look, I ain't no damn supporter of Iran, okay? Leading sponsor of terrorism, all of that stuff they want to do to Israel, stuff they've already done to America. I ain't no supporter of that, but you're the president of the United States, and you go on social media with a profanity-laced tirade, and then you gonna end it by saying, praise be to Allah. How do you think that's gonna help us? How do you think that's gonna help us throughout the world? I mean, seriously. For Muslim countries that ain't Iran. It never ends with this guy. It never ends.
So he says it never ends with this guy. So the point is, you're insulting Islam. You're insulting Muslims all around the world. I mean, that's the argument. You're pouring gasoline on fire. You're using very graphic language. It's not presidential. It's completely unpresidential. And what many are saying is, look, FDR didn't talk like this. Churchill didn't talk like this. Reagan didn't talk like this. LBJ didn't talk like this, let's say the Vietnam War. In other words, you know, the trash talking, the expletives, the F-bombs, the constant threatening. They say it is beneath the dignity of the President of the United States, and in some ways beneath the dignity of America herself. That this is not how a president should talk. This is not how you should bluster. in the middle of a war. It makes us look like a bully. It makes us look profoundly disrespectful and insulting. Do you agree? Or is this president just speaking from the heart and being just authentic, talking the way many people talk? And furthermore, the way I read his comments, and you may disagree with me, I'm just, speaking for myself here. It's almost like his frustration has reached a boiling point where he's saying, look, I want to end this war. We've achieved, for the most part, all of our military objectives. Now, I told you, just unblock the Strait of Hormuz, and all of this goes away. The bombing stops. The war ends. Your people can start rebuilding. But you as he put it, you crazy bastards, like, what is wrong with you? You keep fighting and pushing and escalating and pushing and fighting and escalating. And so, okay, you're kind of almost forcing me to do this. So, yeah, we're going to, we're going to effing blow you up. We're going to effing bomb you back to the Stone Age. Like, can you guys get it through your thick skulls? I'm not playing around. So, do you really want to see your bridges blown up? You really want to see us take the lights off, turn the lights off in your country? Is that what you want? I mean, you what, no schools, no hospitals, nothing can function? Your economy completely ground to a halt? Maybe, as I said, no, indoor plumbing, no drinking water. Like, how far do you guys want to go? How much are you willing of your country to sacrifice and destroy for what? So you can say you survived? So you can say you stood up to the great Satan and the little Satan and took everything Israel and America had to throw at you and you're still standing? Even though you're basically going to be governing over rubble and ash? Like, you crazy bastards. Like, just what is wrong with you? Just unblock the Strait of Hormuz and, it's done. It's over. I go home, declare victory, and you guys, I leave you in power. What else do you want? In other words, it's almost like a rational man who doesn't want to see more civilian loss of life and who doesn't want to see more civilian infrastructure destroyed. And he's dealing with fanatics. So, my question to you, how much time left, Mike? All right. I'm going to give you the poll question of the day because we're up against the break, and then I want to take all calls. But was President Trump's social media post? Okay, let me ask you. It is the Kuhner Country poll question of the day, sponsored by Mario's. Mario's Quality Roofing, Siding, and Windows. Was President Trump's social media post swearing at Iran appropriate? A, yes. B, no. You can vote on our webpage, wrko.com/Kuhner, wrko.com/Kuhner, Kuhn as in National ER. You can also vote via X, and last night, was I active on X. My handle there, all one word, at the Kuhner Report, at the Kuhner Report, Kuhn as in National ER. Mark in Medford. Thanks for holding, Mark, and welcome.
Okay, Jeff, I have quite a few points, and then I'll listen to you and you can ask me whatever you want. My first point is this: Stephen A. Smith and Fake Tapper can both kiss my red, white, and blue butt. Number one. Okay? That's all I got to say about that. Number two, I don't give a rat's behind how much money it costs in losing equipment to get those two American hero patriots back to America. Okay? So as far as I'm concerned, it was worth every penny. And anybody that complains about that, shame on you. okay? Because you didn't complain when Joe Biden left $85 billion worth of weapons and equipment, and, oh, by the way, got 13 service men and women killed, okay? So I don't want to hear that crap either. Number three, Jeff, I think Trump should call Iran's bluff because I don't think Iran has the capability left or the enough firepower to do what they threaten to do if Trump unleashes hell on them.
Yeah, I got to say, Mark, the way, I mean, to be fair, okay, and I agree with you, by the way, if Trump, if Trump wants to drop an F-bomb in a Truth Social post because these guys are so freaking crazy, these savages that run that country, and he's like, you really want me to take out the power? Is that what you want? You want me to blow up every freaking bridge? Like, are you guys that dumb? So, I mean, because, the way, the stuff that's coming out of their end, it's not like it's class and, and high statesmanship. And so they're threatening to blow up everything, every country, everybody. Look, when you start talking about and doing, they hit a desalination plant in Kuwait. Now, what you're doing there is you're saying, I'm willing to have millions of people literally go thirsty. I mean, literally, just die without water. I'm willing to starve millions of people to death and wipe out their economy, wipe out their oil processing. I mean, literally destroy them as nations. So I don't know where the mullahs are, I don't know what ground they're standing on. So, I agree with you. They're the last ones to lecture us on what's appropriate and what's not appropriate. And so when I heard them say, well, we're going to lash out even more, and I'm just sitting back and thinking, I guess you really do have a death wish. Because what's going to happen, Mark, is they're already hated by the Saudis and the Kuwaitis and the United Arab Emirates and, people in Bahrain and Qatar. Now they hate them even more. In fact, Mark, to be honest, one of the pressures now that Trump faces, and it's a big pressure, is all these Persian Gulf nations are saying, you can't stop now. No, you gotta continue. You have to continue until you destroy them so bad that they never rise from the ashes again, that they can never threaten us again. So, he wants to get out. He's not a stupid man. He sees the polls. He sees the midterms. He doesn't want gas to be this high, energy to be high, inflation to start coming back. So, yeah, he wants to end this thing. But they're like, no, you're not going to end this. Not with these guys still in power. So all the mullahs have done is they have turned the entire region, including fellow Muslims. Now, they're Sunni Muslims. They're, Iranians are Shia. But still, they have turned the Sunni Muslim world against them. I don't know what kind of strategy this is. I think, it's the Samson strategy. You just pull the whole temple down, just pull it all down and everybody dies. And they believe that they'll die as martyrs while everyone else goes to hell. But if that's their strategy, Mark, we're dealing with lunatics. And I know the Iranian people are not lunatics. Their leaders are. But a lot of the people there are not. And I think Trump now at this point is basically saying they're going to have to come out on the streets. Like there has to be a popular uprising. Because if not, then get used to no drinking water and no electricity. Because that's what the mullahs now. The mullahs in the end. Here's what I think is happening, Mark. You tell me, I'll give you the last word. The mullahs in the end think that Trump is bluffing. They really believe he's not going to do it tomorrow at 8 p.m. That, yeah, he may blow up a bridge here or a bridge there. He may blow up a power plant here or a power plant there. But that he's going to knock out every bridge in Iran or whatever, most bridges in Iran, and, turn the lights off and just smash their electric grid. They think, no, he's not going to do that. Because they believe, we'll call him a war criminal for doing that. And so Trump doesn't want to go down that road. I think they're messing with the wrong guy. I think they're going to realize very quick when Trump says he's going to turn the lights out, he's going to turn the lights out. Final word to you, Mark.
Well, Jeff, first of all, the Mullahs have already turned the lights out on the city, okay? They blacked them out. They turned power off already to keep people off the streets. But you know what? A couple of nights ago, there was thousands upon thousands of people on the street. Some did get killed by the IRGC, but I think they're starting to finally wake up. And I think they're almost ready, Jeff, to take their government back. But, you know, I just want to mention the fake news media for a second, okay? We went in there, grabbed those two pilots, got them home without a single soldier, not even with a scratch on them. And the media had the balls, Jeff, to go on social media and say Trump cost American lives by sending those troops to go get those pilots. They caused death, and Trump didn't cause anything. I'm sick and tired, Jeff, of the media saying what they want to say, whenever they want to say it, and nothing being done about it. They should be taken off the goddamn air.
Mark, thank you very much for that call. I really, really appreciate it. No, I commented on that on X yesterday. It was one of the most revolting stories I've ever seen. And let me just say this, all of you, please, you need to hear this. The media is rooting for Trump to fail. We know that. Okay, we know that. And they are rooting for America to lose in Iran. They want America to lose in Iran. Because if America loses in Iran, basically it's going to be, a massive blow to Trump. And so anything linked to Trump, anything, any operation, any rescue mission, it doesn't matter. They want it to fail just to hurt Trump. And so what was so sickening over the last 48 to 72 hours was that you can see it. I don't care if it was NBC, ABC, CBS, CNN, MS Now. You can run the Washington Post, the Boston Globe. They're disgusting. They're disgusting. Okay? The local media here in Boston, disgusting. The Washington Post, the New York Times, Associated Press, I don't care. I don't care. They were almost like, it was like, oh my God, they're going to die. Oh my God, what happens if they get captured? Oh, what a propaganda victory for the mullahs. Oh, this will be a death blow to Trump. Oh, they will torture him. They will parade him in front of cameras. They'll humiliate him. They'll humiliate America. This will be the low point of the war. This will be a devastating propaganda defeat for Trump that he may never recover from. And so you could tell they're almost like, please, they want the mullahs to catch him, the Iranians. Come on, get our guy. Get our guy before our troops do. Come on. Oh, Trump will never recover from this. Oh, we're going to crucify him over this. You have the Daily Mail out in the United Kingdom, okay, in Great Britain, literally wrote a piece and then pushed a social media post saying that Trump's rescue operation of the 2nd Airmen, quote unquote, nearly failed and cost dozens of lives. Dozens of lives. And so the media were trying to push a blatant lie, an anti-American lie, that the mission was a disaster, that it, quote unquote, nearly failed. It's like, oh, it just passed. Oh my God, by the skin of his teeth, they just passed. They just got him. Oh my God, it was right there. It was on a trigger. It was right. Oh my God, it could have been a disaster. Oh, and dozens are dead. Dozens of Americans dead. There's dead everywhere. As I said on X, a monstrous lie. Not a single American was killed, even maimed or wounded. What do you mean nearly failed? It was one of the most daring, brilliant, effective military rescue operations, not in American history, in the history of war, by any country on the face of the earth. As someone earlier said, I'm telling you, they're going to make a Hollywood movie. It was Vince in Germany. He goes, Jeff, they're making a Hollywood movie out of this, and when you see the Hollywood movie, you're going to watch it and say, I can't believe this. No, really, you're going to be like, no, this is not possible. Oh my God, it's true? What, every bit of it, every scene is true? What? For God's sake, bring back the Smith-Mundt Act, because the media now, as I said on X, it's no longer lies. It's no longer mis or disinformation. It's no longer even propaganda. Bad and disgusting as it is, they're now committing treason. This is open treason. In the middle of a war, they're literally rooting for the other side, for the mullahs, and they're rooting for our troops, or in this case our airmen, to be either killed or captured and tortured. This is beyond sick. I mean, really, this is beyond sick. Now, many of you are going to say, Jeff, what can we do? Very simple. Boycott them. I know many of you read the Daily Mail. Boycott the Daily Mail. But, Jeff, they have some good stories. That's the point. So you want to read the good stories, but you allow them to put out garbage like this. Boycott them. Boycott them. Boycott the Daily Mail. Boycott the Boston Globe. Boycott the New York Times. Boycott the Washington Post. Boycott CNN. Boycott MS Now. The local media, 4, 5, 7, 10, 25. Don't watch them. Get your news from, I don't know, from the internet, whatever. There's many places you can get basic news. Don't watch them. Don't watch them for sports. Don't watch them for the weather. Don't give them a single rating. And this is the only way they're going to change. If you keep giving them the ratings, they're going to keep giving you these lies and propaganda. So starve them of viewers, which eventually will starve them of ad revenue. And maybe they'll start to be more objective and nonpartisan in their news coverage. Look, I'm not asking you to cheer the administration. I swear I'm not. Just report the damn news. 2 airmen went down. They were behind enemy lines. They rescued the first one. There was a massive hunt on for the second one. The Iranian media was saying they almost had him. They were very close to capturing him. He had to climb wounded up 7,000 feet, went to a mountain crevice, a ledge, hung on, clung on for dear life, and was waiting to be rescued. And as the Iranians were about to close in on him, we spotted him, sent in a special operations team. There was a firefight, and we got him out alive. And not a single American Special Operations Force member, Navy SEAL Team 6, was wounded or killed or hurt in the firefight. That's it. That's it. Should we be in the war? Should we not be in the war? That's for the viewer, the reader, the listener to make up their mind. But don't tell me it nearly failed when it didn't. Don't tell me it was a disaster when it was the exact opposite. And don't tell me dozens of Americans were killed when not a single American was killed. Now, how can you trust the media again after this? On top of all the lies of the last, 10, 15 years? Like, there has to be a point. Yes, they need to have the Smith-Mundt Act come back. yes, their license should be revoked. Look, you're not in the news business. You know, if I said to you right now, just, I would never say this, but just, indulge me. The United States has just dropped a nuclear bomb on Tehran. You would say, what? Yeah, there are millions dead. And it turns out it was complete BS. How long am I on the air? How long? Now, in other words, Jeff said a completely false story. It was garbage. It was completely false. I'm not talking half true, half not true. Some of it was a little bit false, or, a story breaks, and when you get a story that's breaking, all the information comes out incomplete, or some of it is actually wrong, but you're just repeating what other sources say. In other words, this was complete BS made up to make Trump or America look bad. So he said, no, they just dropped a nuke and just killed millions of innocent people. You'd say, get this guy off the air. He's a liar. Now, how come the Daily Mail is still publishing a newspaper after this? How do the other media outlets get away with this? Now, if you want to say we're entertainment, which is pretty much not what they are, we're just a mouthpiece for the Democratic National Committee. Okay. Then you go, listen, you realize what you're reading is just the propaganda of the Democratic Party. That's all this is. Okay, then you know what you're reading. But that's not quote-unquote news. That's not quote-unquote media. 617-266-6868 is the number. Vince in Long Island. Thanks for holding, Vince, and welcome.
Hi, Jeff. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter. All the best to you and your family, Vince.
Belated Easter. We got to stop fighting these antiseptic wars. And, we have to fight to win. And we can't just follow the polls. If we fought antiseptic wars like we're trying to fight now, we'd still be fighting Japan and Germany till this day. I mean, Dresden was carpet bombed completely. Japan had to be nuked. I mean, Sherman had to go through Atlanta and burn it to the ground. You have to inflict pain for the enemy to surrender. Otherwise, wars will go on forever. And as far as the Iranian people, I mean, yes, they're going to be very agitated and irritated, but shouldn't they turn that anger and hatred towards their government that allowed that to happen to them? Shouldn't they then take up arms and fight their government? Are they going to join them to fight America? How is that going to benefit them? That would be kind of insane. And as far as, we have enemies within that were actually cheering the 9/11 attacks on this country. So we have a lot of sick bastards in this country that basically side with the enemy. We have treasonous people in here. And I don't know if you know about the Punic Wars. They went on for 43 years, 3 wars over 43 years, till they finally had to burn Carthage to the ground. And we never heard of any other problems from the Carthaginians after that. And I was watching a Star Trek episode. I don't know if you're a Star Trek fan or not, but there was an episode where there were these 2 warring factions, and they were fighting the war through computer games. And basically what happened is they would have a computer attack, and whenever a certain area of the city was attacked, a certain amount of people would present themselves to an incinerator, and they would willingly go to their own death. And Captain Kirk broke their system, and they've been doing that for 500 years. He went in there and he destroyed their whole computer systems, and they freaked out. They said, now we're going to have to fight with real weapons and real missiles that are coming to us. And Captain Kirk was explaining to them, that's what war is all about. That's why it needs to be avoided, because you don't want to fight wars. They made it so clean and sterile that people just presented themselves. Okay, I've been attacked in this area with a computer program. I'll present. I'm supposed to be dead. They presented for their own deaths. And basically, also, what the Democrats are announcing to Trump, this should basically make him aware that he should pardon himself and everybody in his top administration on the way out, because these evil people won't leave him alone. So I think he needs to pardon everybody that's involved with him to make them feel more reassured that what they're doing is the right thing.
Well, Vince, look, you made a lot of points, as usual, very good points. Look, this is why I have a huge problem with Trump's strategy now of bombing civilian infrastructure. And I get your point. We nuked Japan and we bombed Dresden, Dresden to pieces. But the Iranian people are fundamentally on our side. Okay, so I got cut off by Mike, which, he likes to do this. I'm saying a point, and I'm I'm almost there, and then he cuts me off in mid-sentence. But that's okay. Mike likes to do that. So anyway, just to finish my point to Vince, because Vince made a very good call, as usual. And he said, look, Jeff, we got to stop with these antiseptic wars. War is hell. War means civilians get killed. That's just the nature of war. We bombed, we dropped 2 atomic bombs on Japan. We bombed Dresden in Germany to rubble. Sherman burnt Atlanta to the ground in the Civil War. That's just the reality of war. And I hear you. It's obviously a smart, fair point. Look, my only counterpoint to that is, wasn't the purpose of this war with Iran to liberate the Iranian people, right, from the slavery and the oppression and the barbarism of the mullahs? It was, as Trump, said, this is for you. Rise up and overthrow them. Rise up and take your country back. And so we're there to help the Iranian people, especially the innocent Persian people who have suffered for nearly 50 years under this regime. Well, it's not like under the Nazis or under the Japanese, because let's be honest, many Germans supported Hitler, even to the end. Many Japanese supported Imperial Fascist Japan to the end. The mullahs don't have anywhere near that kind of popular support. They have some, more than we estimated, everybody, including U.S. intelligence, Israeli intelligence, most observers, we didn't think they had as much support as they do. But still, the majority of the Iranian people have suffered for nearly 50 years. They want to throw the mullahs off. You bomb civilian infrastructure, you're going to be hurting them. The people were there to help. The mullahs have tons of water stored away. They have tons of food stored away. They got backup generators up the wazoo. So if we turn the lights out as an example, they're going to have drinking water. They're going to have functioning toilets. They're going to have a ventilation system. They're not going to suffer. It's the people on the ground that will. And, theoretically, yeah, you're right. Who brought this upon them? Ultimately, it's the Ayatollahs, no question. But come on, you're talking about, let's be realistic, you're talking about a people brutalized, oppressed, repressed for 50 years, living in a news blackout, under constant propaganda, and all they see are bombs falling from the sky. And they know the bombs aren't coming from the mullahs. They go, it's coming from the United States. Well, think about it from their point of view. Hey, I get it. Bomb the mullahs, bomb the military. But why are you bombing us? Or why are you bombing our infrastructure? So, now look, I don't know what the intelligence Trump has. We're going to see how this all plays out. But my fear is it's only going to help consolidate the regime. It's going to turn ordinary civilians that are sympathetic to us, that are natural allies of ours, into people who will hate us for 100 years. Because their children may die, their parents may die, they may die. Because they won't have running water, they won't have electricity, soon there will be food shortages. Their jobs are gone, their factories are gone, their industrial base is gone, their bridges are gone. After a while, the country's being turned into absolute rubble. That's my fear. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, very, very quickly. This is from 603. Jeff, leave the salty language aside for just a moment. What surprises me most was to see some people, even some patriots, take such issue with Trump saying, "Praise be to Allah." First off, I feel like he's trolling the enemy by throwing their own words back at them. I agree, 603, completely. 603 continues. Secondly, he's paying no homage nor disrespect to the God of Islam by saying, "Praise be to Allah," because Allah is not a name of any particular God, such as Jesus or Jehovah would be. Allah is merely the generic Arabic word for God. So as a Christian and a patriot, I join President Trump in saying, "Praise be to God." That said, I pray we don't harm the Iranian civilian infrastructure for the sake of the Persian people. 603, I agree with you on every single count. Now, Rick is texting me on my private phone, and he makes a very good point. Jeff, this is why we should be dropping leaflets into Iran. Millions of leaflets, obviously in Farsi, to let them know it's not against you. We're not trying to hurt you. We want the mullahs now to sign a deal, reopen the Strait of Hormuz, and this war will end. And also that maybe Elon can do whatever he can with Starlink so internet can be restored so the Iranian people can see that it's not our intent to, to hurt them or to damage them or to impoverish them or immiserate them. Okay, Rick also made a point to me, and this was a text he sent on my personal phone. I was not aware of this. Again, best audience in the business. So, according to a story on Newsmax, Seth Moulton, my nickname for him is Moron Moulton. Well, Moron Moulton struck again. Because according to Newsmax, apparently Moulton, after our fighter, our F-15E fighter jet went down behind enemy lines, deep inside Iran, Moulton comes out and says, quote, "Iran is winning the war," after our 2 airmen had to eject. I mean, you can't make this up. Yeah, I'm telling you, you can't make this up. Now, look, I'm so happy that they were rescued and that they're in safe hands again. But let's just, worst case scenario, they were captured. Again, it's horrifying. I don't want them to be captured or tortured or beaten. But, I mean, you want to compare one plane being shot down and 2 fighter pilots being captured. You want to compare that to Iran's Navy gone, their Air Force gone, their air defenses gone, their ballistic missiles, most of their missile launchers now gone, their ballistic missile stockpile badly degraded, their nuclear program utterly obliterated, their military capability smashed to pieces. It will take them a generation, forget to rebuild the country, just to rebuild their military. And a member of Congress, by the way, a man who served in uniform on top of everything else, a vet. And you're telling me that downing one plane means we're losing the war? As I said earlier, they are rooting for the United States to lose. That's how sick their Trump derangement syndrome has become. Agree, disagree, 617-266-6868. So I want for me, 2 big issues on the table. One, Trump's ultimatum. Do you support it? Do you not support it? Should we destroy Iran's bridges and civilian infrastructure, all of their electric power plants, or is that going too far? And number two, Trump using profanities in a Truth Social post. The F-bomb was used. He also called the mullahs crazy bastards. People are saying it's unpresidential, it's inappropriate. Some are even saying he sounds a little bit demented. I think that's ridiculous, but that's what the media and liberals are saying. That is just not a way for a president to speak anytime, but never mind in the middle of a war. To me, he's being real, he's being authentic, and he's trying to get through to the thick skulls of the mullahs what they're on the verge of losing and what's going to happen to their country if they don't unblock the strait. But that's me. I wasn't offended by it. Were you offended by it? Should we be offended by it? 617-266-6868. Rick in Watertown. Thanks for holding, Rick, and welcome.
Jeff, how you doing?
Good. How are you, Rick?
Hey, listen, all those years of us that fought for this guy, right? Try to keep him out of jail, protesting the stolen election. He's throwing away every ounce of political capital for this stupid war, and it's a disaster. He needs to get out of there, call it done, and get home. This is crazy. Those people aren't going to quit. What are you going to do? Nuke them? Just kill everyone? How's that going to be? When your kids, Jeff, when your kids are 30, they want to go to Europe, but they can't because they got to watch out for these Iranians, or they're going to want to kill them because we destroyed their country.
Rick, when you say he's lost all political, or he's squandering his political capital, or he's lost all of it, how do you mean? Please elaborate there, Rick.
All right, so the Iranians are not going to quit, obviously. Obviously, this was an enormous cluster thinking they could do this, okay? None of it worked. Strait of Hormuz was open my whole life until they decided to do a sneak attack. I don't like the Iranians, but this is nuts. He's going to get impeached. Then we get the liberals in. Then it's open borders forever. We had one chance. All of us got together and got this guy back in there, and he's thrown it all in the toilet.
Rick, if you were advising him, what would you tell him to do? Would you say declare victory and come home and leave the Strait of Hormuz blocked and say, you know what, we did the heavy lifting. You guys now, the rest of the world, the Europeans, the Asians, you guys go in there, you unblock the strait. And number two, what do you make of his threat to blow up their entire civilian infrastructure if they don't unblock the Strait of Hormuz? Do you think now, is this now bringing dishonor to the United States? Many now are saying these are potential war crimes. Do you agree with that, Rick? I'm just curious.
Well, I mean, what are we going to do? I mean, what do you think would happen if some China came and bombed Boston and your grandmother can't get any medicine and nobody can eat and there's no lights on? Oh, hey, think we're going to cry uncle, or are you going to fight to the death? Interesting.
Rick, the president's listening. His people listen, but indulge me. He's listening now. What would you tell him to do?
Get the hell out of there and try to save your presidency and do a few of the things that people got you elected for.
Rick, thank you very much for that call. Steve in Florida. Thanks for holding, Steve, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff. Good morning,
Hi.
Jeff. It's great to talk to you.
Hi, Steve.
You had three callers earlier. You had Arthur from Chestnut Hill. You had Mark from Medford. You had Vince. All people I agree with. They were all on target, 100% correct, 100% alpha males. And notwithstanding Rick's good intentions, I personally am concerned about nuclear missiles from Iran, death to America repeatedly. I'm going to get to my point in 1 minute, but we finally now have, after 50 years of the presidency, a king of the jungle. We have now Barack Obama bent and bowed to the king of Saudi Arabia. That was not presidential. When Barack Obama was caught on a hot mic with Medvedev saying that, wait till I become president and I'll take care of you. That wasn't presidential. When Joe Biden looked at his watch when 13 American patriotic servicemen came home on the tarmac, that wasn't presidential. The last alpha male we had in the White House was Ronald Reagan. And let's think back what happened just prior to Ronald Reagan becoming our president. Over 440 American patriots were kidnapped by these mullahs. President Carter could do nothing. Ronald Reagan became president. Within 1 to 2 or 3 days, these wild, fanatical Muslims released these people. Now, why did they do that? They did that because Ronald Reagan made them aware that the wrath of the American power will be brought to them if they don't release them. So who released them? The mullahs. Now, think about it for a moment. This country was built by King of the Jungles, George Washington, the American Revolution, George Patton, World War II, Ronald Reagan, Iran. And now we have Donald Trump. Except guess what? In the last 50 years, our country has changed. The media has become way to the left. Our colleges are poisoning our college kids. Our public schools are now poisoning our children, our young children. Forgive me when I say this, but the Women's Lib movement has made women want to be tough guys. They want to be men. And they've made men become girls. So Jake Tapper, he's a girly boy. That's what he is.
Steve, I'm just curious. Do you support the president's ultimatum? Okay, I want to ask all of you, did Trump cross the line by using foul obscenities or expletive-laden language in his Truth Social yesterday? He laid down the mother of all ultimatums. This has been seen by billions of people around the world where, and let me read it to you one more time, and you tell me if the president crossed the line. Many in the media are saying yes. They are blasting Trump for saying this. Even some so-called MAGA supporters are very angry with Trump. So I can't say the F word. He spelled out the complete F word. I can't say it on the air. So this is what Trump wrote. Tuesday will be power plant day and bridge day all wrapped up in one in Iran. There will be nothing like it. 3 exclamation points. Open the blanking straight, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah. And basically, he's now saying by tomorrow, Tuesday, 8 p.m., unless the leadership in Iran, the theocracy, or what's left of it, unless they agree to unblock the Strait of Hormuz and essentially sign a ceasefire, Trump says he will destroy every major bridge, every electrical power plant, and smash Iran's civilian infrastructure. Essentially, he's going to break their back. Listen now, just to give you a taste. This is CNN's fake Tapper telling people if you have children, they have to get out, or they should get out of the room because of the foul language used by the president in his Truth Social post. Roll cut 5, Mike.
The injured airman survived being shot down behind enemy lines, CNN has learned, by hiding alone in a mountain crevice before he was rescued in a massive effort involving hundreds of American military and intelligence personnel. But if you were wondering how the success of that operation might affect the president's posture toward Iran moving forward, wonder no longer. He has just threatened Iran in extraordinary graphic terms, giving the Iranian regime just over a day to either make a deal, reopen the Strait of Hormuz, or face hell. If your children are watching, be warned, the president did not use polite language. Quote, Tuesday will be Power Plant Day and Bridge Day, all wrapped up in one in Iran. There will be nothing like it. Open the strait, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. We should note that destroying civilian power infrastructure is generally considered to constitute a war crime under international law, though the president could argue that the infrastructure has dual use and also is utilized by Iran's military.
So now notice just two very quick things, and I want to go right back to the phone lines. The implication, and they're out in many outlets, they're actually explicitly saying it. But the implication is, the way Jake Tapper read it, it's like Trump is a madman. He's become this warmongering, crazed madman who, now just get your children out of the room because F-bombs are flying, because he's threatening to basically bomb Iran back to the Stone Ages. So, number one, they're implying almost like mentally he's not right in the head anymore, that he's become unbalanced, unhinged in this war fever. That's what they're trying to claim. And number two, that he is just so crude and so vulgar that he's degrading the office of the presidency and in some ways degrading the United States itself. That a president in public should not talk like this. What say you? To me, I don't want to repeat myself, but as I said earlier, I don't know how else you can communicate to these fanatics, to these Islamic extremists. Allah, 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 Allah. I mean, Trump is looking at him almost. You could almost feel the frustration, the anger, just oozing out of him. I don't want to destroy your country. Like, think about your people, for God's sake. You're done. You've lost. It's obvious to any normal, sane person. You have basically no military left. And you still don't want to just end the war. So now you're almost pushing me to go after that massive internal civilian infrastructure. And you want the country to go be bombed to the Stone Ages? Is that what you want? And you guys are still going on. By the way, the mullah's response, just so that you know, has said, "Come and get us." Literally, that's what they said. Come and get us. We will not be intimidated. You bomb our infrastructure, we will bomb the infrastructure of other countries. We will rain hell on countries surrounding us. So it's almost very much the way, Hitler in the bunker, or, the crazy militarists, the crazed fascist militarists who ran Japan. It's like, if we're going to go down, let's go down like almost apocalyptic like. The whole country goes down with them. So they are fighting to the bitter end, and then Trump is going to have to, if they don't comply. And the way what's coming out of Tehran doesn't sound like they're going to comply. Then Trump has got two choices. Either he's got to follow through on his threat, which now will dramatically escalate the war. I mean, that it will be a very different war, because there's no question, there will be a humanitarian crisis, which Trump doesn't want, obviously, but there will be one. There just will. I mean, once you take out the electric power, the bridges, civilian infrastructure, now the people of Iran are really going to suffer. They're going to feel it. So it's a major escalation. Or Trump says, no, I won't do it. I don't want to see ordinary Persians be hurt like this. Well, then his word means nothing. Then he's lost. It'll be like Obama with the red line in Syria. And he's already pushed it back, this ultimatum, the deadline now a couple times. And after this big build-up now, I mean, in a sense, it's either he does it or no one will take him seriously again. So that's where we stand. 617-266-6868. Lines are jammed. Russ in Boston. Thanks for holding, Russ, and welcome.
Jeff, I love plain-speaking Donald Trump. The message is clear. Don't bleep with us. And I'm so tired of con artist politicians, the people that are politically stupid, okay, listen to their propaganda as if it's truth, okay? So, yes, I love Donald Trump, and whatever he does, I back him up without a shadow of a doubt. I've been waiting for a strong leader like President Trump for over 60 years. From George H.W. Bush, all presidents, with the exception of President Trump, have sold out to the deep state for self-gain. They have also made bad trade deals for self-benefit, without a shadow of a doubt. The truth is the truth. And remember with Ross Perot, who was instrumental in George Bush losing, is said, listen to the sucking sound of jobs leaving the country. Never forget that phrase. Now, the truth is, Western European leaders are cowards. They fear the radicals that they have led into their country, and that's why they don't want to do anything to free the strait. Okay. Now, for 60 years, I've been witnessing the media is the enemy within, and there's no shadow of a doubt. Finally, more and more Americans are realizing the fact that the media is the enemy within. They will always crucify Trump, no matter what he does. People could get a pot of gold from him, and they'd complain he didn't give them a cat to bring it home in. I mean, that's how insane and ridiculous it is, okay? And let's face it, the Democratic Party right now is run by the communist wing of the party, without a shadow of a doubt. Now, you also mentioned Seth Moulton, okay? He is a scumbag turncoat like John Kerry. Mass Democrats love turncoats. Believe me, they love turncoats. Never forget, Benedict Arnold was a veteran, so never be fooled by the fact that he's a veteran. And believe me when I say this, Jeff, I intend to change my party affiliation from Republican to unenrolled so I can vote against him in the Democratic primary because he's running for the United States Senate. And believe me when I say this, if that SOB becomes a United States Senator, he and Chuck Schumer, that's all you're going to hear constantly on the news. Because the media, they love those SOBs. And there's no shadow of a doubt. God bless America. Let's back Donald Trump. And whatever he feels needs to be done, needs to be done. And I'll say one other thing. The cabinet that he's put together is the best cabinet that I've seen in my lifetime.
Well, especially now with Pam Bondi gone. That's what they call, Russ, addition by subtraction. But, Russ, I want to go back to something, and I really respect you because you're a veteran and you fought in Vietnam, not one tour, but 2 tours. So you know the kind of respect I have for you, Russ. Russ, I agree with you on Seth Moulton, not 100, 1,000%. I can't stand Markey, but my God, I think if it's possible, Moulton would be worse. Seriously. Oh, my God. To have this guy as senator? Oh, ay. Now, Russ, you've made this point over many years calling into this show, and you're right, completely right, that the media sabotaged the troops in Vietnam, that they were rooting for an American defeat. They lied about the war repeatedly. We never lost a single battle in Vietnam. Not once did we lose a battle. And yet they kept portraying it as if the war was lost. What I want to ask you is this. Has the media now gotten even worse compared to what you had to endure during Vietnam? And I just want to give that airman as an example. It's almost as if it's no longer they want America to lose, which is disgusting. But now it's almost like they want our airmen, in this case, the colonel, the second pilot, to be captured. They want him to be captured by the Iranians, to be tortured, to be beaten, to be paraded before cameras, to be used as a propaganda tool to humiliate Trump, to stick it to Trump, to weaken Trump. Now, it's one thing to root for your country to lose, disgusting, immoral, treasonous as it is. But now when you're like basically, yeah, let's get one of ours captured so they can be tortured and beaten and humiliated so we can take down the evil orange man. Russ, to me, that's a different level altogether. Am I wrong, Russ, or am I splitting hairs?
Okay? There's no question. Donald Trump has done the best he can to out the media, okay? And you know what? In plain sight now, they show that they're anti-American communist SOBs. Now, let me show you the difference. Walter Cronkite, another weasel, okay? All right. He was considered the most trusted man in America, and yet he was responsible, okay? And let me bring you back. He was responsible for his reporting of the Tet Offensive, which was totally fraudulent. He lied, but the SOB got away with it. The media now has been outed, and it's worse today because they're out in the open. They weren't out in the open back then.
That's an excellent point. That's an excellent point. And look, you're right about Cronkite. I mean, I don't want to revisit history, but the Tet Offensive was a massive defeat for the communists. It took them, Russ, was it 6 months, 9 months? I forget now. It was definitely 6 months minimum to regroup from the beating that they got. But the way Cronkite and the media here played it, oh, this was a huge defeat for the United States. Oh, we got our heads handed to us. Oh, this war is lost. We just can't win it. And I'm like, what are you talking about? we just smashed the North Vietnamese with their biggest offensive, and they were eviscerated. So you're completely right. Cronkite lied to the American people. But Russ, Cronkite, to be fair to him, okay, liar, weasel that he was, no question. He was a fraud. But even Cronkite, if you said to him, hey, you know, our boys here, let's say Russ. Russ is now, you know, on the run. They're tracking him down. The Viet Cong want to get him. We're trying to rescue him. Walter Cronkite wouldn't be saying, I hope the commies get him and torture him. This is what the media is now. Basically, they wanted that airman captured. They wanted him tortured, humiliated, and beaten, and paraded just to mock Donald Trump. Cronkite wasn't that bad. Am I wrong, Russ?
Oh, off there, who the hell knows, okay? But oh, God, Jeff, I love this country, but I fear the future because we've got too many people that are brainwashed by the communists in our great country.
No question. No question. Russ, again, thank you for your service. God bless you, my friend. I mean, I don't want to believe that someone like Cronkite would be cheering, but, you know, Russ, who knows? But my point is, okay, fine. Openly, they would never do that. Openly, it would be career suicide to go out and say, yeah, hope they get him. Get one of our guys. Come on, get him. Come on. You got to get him before we get him. How do you come back from that? And then, like the Daily Mail, you openly lie that dozens of American soldiers were killed when it was zero? You know, and you can just tell the media so wants Trump to fail. And they so want us to lose the war. And it's as if they want the body bags to come back. Because they believe now they can topple his presidency. 617-266-6868. Jim in New Hampshire. Thanks for holding, Jim, and welcome.
Hey, Jeff. How you doing?
Good. How are you, Jim?
I'm good. Happy Easter, day after.
Happy belated Easter. All the best to you and your family, Jim.
You as well. Thank you. So I am a 3-time Trump voter. I'm a 50-year-old independent. And I voted for along with a lot of the popular vote, the younger generation that voted from the Charlie Kirk movement independents, the podcast sphere, the popular, the Rogans, a bunch of people that were really on board with MAGA. And that was the big reason he won, and he won the popular vote. The only people that are right now really supporting this is people that are generally older and just love Lindsey Graham and Mark Levin, or just do not watch anything but Fox. And I think, to me, being a real strong supporter of the MAGA conservatism, this is doing more damage, this war, and escalating it, than any Democrat in history could do to the Republican Party. My fear is that not only Trump will suffer from this, especially if we escalate to the point where, we start, the civilians getting killed, infrastructure getting blown up, immigration all over Europe. Not only will he suffer, and God forbid they will take him to trial, and who knows what happens to that, the Republican Party will suffer the same fate as the Democrats, probably worse. Now, the reason the Democrats feel so bad is because they had a completely unpopular candidate in Kamala. They had a senile person in Biden, and they didn't recognize it. They didn't stand up and say, hey, let's make a change here. Now, I'm not saying let's change Trump. He's still there, but we got to speak out and put him in the right direction. I've been speaking out against this for a long time. I didn't want this for a long time. I know it's getting higher and higher up the escalation ladder we can get off, but I still think before we do something like this, which would be really bad, and the world community, and just the repercussions of this would be, this is a tough one to come back from. I think there's still a chance. I'd have some ideas, but I think this would be probably the worst thing, where we might just get stuck. More even so than ground troops in that area, in that region. This could be beyond devastating if we stop blowing up. If civilians can't get electricity, they can't eat. We see babies dying. I mean, this is what they want. Listen, Iran is run by a terrible government, but the people will suffer. They're going to be fine. Like you said, they have water. They'll go in their bunkers. It's the same thing here. If they didn't like us here, they blew everything up. I mean, we have leaders. They're fine. We're going to suffer. And who are the people going to blame? They're going to blame the people that bombed us. So I'm really against this. If anyone in this cabinet are listening, I'm a conservative. I'm a MAGA conservative. I believe in the movement. I don't want it to end, and I want it to continue. But this is going to do so much damage. So much damage.
Jim, let me ask you point blank, because the argument now that many are starting to make, it's mostly from the left, but you're right now. No, Tucker Carlson is making it. Joe Rogan is making it. You mentioned many of these podcasters who did help Trump win in 2024, no question, that if Trump follows through on this ultimatum and he smashes Iran's civilian infrastructure, that these are war crimes, or they could be considered war crimes. And the Democrats are vowing that if he crosses this line, this is what they're saying, they're going to impeach him. They're going to take back power, and they're going to impeach him as a war criminal. And once they impeach him as a war criminal, they then want to try him as a war criminal. So my question to you, in your view, Jim, as an opponent of this war from the beginning, is Trump about to cross a red line in terms of attacking civilians or civilian infrastructure? Does he open himself up now to the charge of committing war crimes?
They're gonna push that, and I think we just said we're going to liberate the people, and what are the Iranian expats that are going to say now if they see their parents and whoever's left over there just get to die? I mean, I think it is a red line, and as far as what they do or what the Democrats don't do, I mean, it's going to give them reason to do it. I obviously don't want to see that. I want to see him succeed. I want to see him get back to America first. If you ask my solution for this, try to de-escalate. Save as much as you can of your situation. If you have to throw someone.
Yeah, no, I mean, I hear you. I mean, Jim, I hear you. Eric in Plymouth. Thanks for holding, Eric, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff. Thank you for taking my call. Happy Easter to you and your family.
Thank you. Happy Easter to you and your whole family as well, Eric.
Thank you. Russ, bingo. Bullseye, Biden. Okay? Walter Cronkite. I remember when I was 5, Jeff. Okay? Vietnam, Korea, World War II, World War I. My family members were in. Okay? I remember all that crap. Okay? Drain the strait. Okay? Okay? And you think about Jeff Tapper. Okay? Does he ever say anything about the beheadings of children? Okay, by children being done by children by these imams, and these imams. Okay, they want to have all our heads piled up all the way up to the moon with Donald J. Trump's head as a cherry on top. They want to destroy the world. That's their intent. They say it all the time. Osama bin Laden. All these operations have taken place because, well, you have insidious media playing games. Now, what you brought up is how the mullahs are going to be in their caves. It's just like Kappa, okay? It doesn't affect them in their gated communities. It's psycho. And we, the people, are being played, yes, just like the people over there in Iran. And Trump is taking measures, okay, to protect them in every way. And it's up to the world community to step up, okay? China, Russia, and all the other members of the world, okay, sane, real world, to take a stand and say, we're not going to take this anymore, and contain these mullahs. There they are. Catch me if you can, right, Jeff? Right?
Well, Eric, look, listen, look, you're right. In theory, you're absolutely right. Really the world should be stepping up because Iran is not just a Mideast problem. It's certainly a European problem. They could hit Europe if they ever got the bomb. And now with the Strait of Hormuz that they've done, which to me is beyond reckless and irresponsible, now it's affecting the entire world economy. The sad part is they're a proxy of Russia and China. The Russians and the Chinese are helping. They have for decades. They've armed them. They've funded them. They've supported them. They're buying their oil illicitly on the black market. And now it appears, it's not 100% proven yet, but it appears that it was either Chinese or Russian technology that was given to the Ayatollahs that helped shoot down that plane, or, that plane with our two pilots, that F-15E fighter jet. And apparently now Russia and China are providing even more intelligence and more assistance to the mullahs. And what they're telling them is, hang on, just wait the Americans out. That's clearly now the strategy of the Ayatollahs. And that's China and Russia is egging them. They're advising them to do that. Saying it doesn't matter. Let them bomb. Let them bomb the bridges. Let Trump bomb the electric power plants. Even if it means all the power goes out, your people really suffer. Let them suffer. Like, since when do the mullahs ever care about their own people? They don't care. In fact, again, in their sick, twisted ideology, their Islamist, fascist ideology, in their view, you die for Allah, you're going straight to heaven. And if you're a man, you get your 72 virgins. You have a harem waiting for you. So they're like, hey, we're doing you a favor. You die, I've just given you heaven on a silver platter. So that's the sick, twisted thinking of these barbarians, these fanatics. Frankly, to me, they're medieval savages that run Iran. So I think we have to understand that. They're not going to surrender. They're not. They're not going to comply. And they're willing to sacrifice God knows how many of their own people in order to say they... See, the thing is for the mullahs, all they want to do is survive. If they survive, Eric, they can go to their people and say, you see, America and Israel threw everything they had at us, and we're still left standing. And so the Russians and the Chinese, both of whom want Trump out, the Chinese in particular really want Trump out, are telling them, just outlast the Americans. Keep the Strait bottled up, keep oil high, keep gas high, make the world economy have a recession, and guess what? Trump will lose the midterms. And then the Democrats will impeach him. because the Chinese own the Democrats. And then he says you can kiss away Trump's last 2 years of his presidency. So you'll have essentially, politically, you'll have broken Trump. So all you got to do now is take the punishment. And frankly, it's not them that's taking the punishment. It's the people that will take the punishment. This is from Peter is his name. Again, this is on my personal phone. He's a Vietnam veteran. He was a pilot, a great American patriot of Greek descent, by the way, and a proud Greek American, and he should be. And he was just telling me in a couple of texts how the Russians and the Chinese were supplying the Viet Cong and the North Vietnamese communists with ground-to-air missiles that were shooting down our fighter jets and our airplanes over Vietnam. And it was, for the Air Force, for American fighter pilots, I mean, they were just taking them down one by one. And he said we had to watch them build a missile site, and we were not allowed to bomb them and take out these missile sites until after they had become active and began shooting down our planes. In other words, after our pilots were getting killed or maimed or, downed. And then we were finally given the go-ahead to knock them out. But while they were being built, it was hands off. And I don't like to use the Lord's name in vain, so, I'll leave out the God part. But basically, he finishes with, damn LBJ and McNamara. McNamara was the secretary. Robert McNamara was the Secretary of Defense during the Vietnam War. And by the way, it was McNamara in particular that pushed for these rules of engagement. And he was the one that pushed Kennedy into he pushed both Kennedy and LBJ into the Vietnam War. No one pushed harder for us to be involved in Vietnam than Defense Secretary Robert McNamara. He was the leading warmonger, the leading war hawk in both administrations. And yet no one did more to tie the hands of our fighter pilots, of our military, of our forces there. So I think there's no question that one of the reasons why Operation Epic Fury has been so devastating and so effective, just from a military point of view, is because you got Pete Hegseth at defense and Trump as president. There are no rules of engagement now that are going to hold us back. And I believe it's also the key reason why they were able to rescue those two airmen. When Navy SEAL Team 6 was sent in to rescue the second airman, as he was clinging to in a mountain crevice and badly wounded and waiting, the gloves were off. The Iranians were closing in. They had militias after him. They had forces after him. And, you go in there and you take them out. And then you grab our guy and you rescue him. So it wasn't just magnificent training and discipline and practice again and again and incredible technology. But the third key piece, these are rules of engagement for the military to win a war, not lose a war. Or in this case, to succeed in a mission and not to fail in a rescue mission. 617-266-6868. By the way, there's a really good movie with Gene Hackman in it. It's called Behind Enemy Lines. I think it was made in the 90s, late 90s. Anyway, it's set in Bosnia. And there's an American pilot that's downed, and the Bosnian Serbs are trying to find that pilot. I think it's played by Owen Wilson. And anyway, long story short, I urge everybody to see the movie. It's a very well done movie. And you see how insane the rules of engagement are. And so Gene Hackman has to essentially violate the rules of engagement in order to have any chance to rescue our guy who the Bosnian Serbs are closing in on. I don't want to give away the ending, but you watch it and you're like, A, the patriotism of our men and how they're willing to rescue our people no matter what. And B, like all the red tape, all of these rules. And you're like, we're just tying ourselves up in knots to the point that it's almost impossible to rescue one of our guys unless someone violates the chain of command. So anyway, I highly recommend the movie and very entertaining. 617-266-6868. Bob in Woburn. Thanks for holding, Bob, and welcome. Bob?
Happy Easter to you and your family.
Thank you, Bob. Happy Easter to you and your family as well. What's on your mind, Bob?
Listen to these pukes that want to get out of there. Go all the way. Because if you blow out the infrastructure, why don't the people will do something about it? I'm sick of it. How would you like to be in a foxhole with that puke set molten? And I'm a 2-2 veteran of Vietnam. Hello.
So, Bob, no, I'm listening to every word. Bob, so you think Trump should follow through on his ultimatum and just and go after the bridges and the civilian power plants, the electric power plants?
Because then the civilians will do something about it.
Well, yeah, that's Trump's thinking.
They'll rebel. And then if I don't have any water, and it's a response to say a political leader, I'm going after him.
Well, that's Trump's calculation, Bob. That basically either if the mullahs don't realize how bad the damage is, he says the people will, and they will finally rise up and overthrow them. And that's why, what Trump is basically saying is, look, we could do this the easy way or the hard way. You could just unblock the Strait of Hormuz, and I don't have to bomb you guys to Kingdom Come. Or, okay, I'll bomb you guys to Kingdom Come, and then, hopefully your own people will go to the streets and they will hang you from the lampposts. So, and then the Strait of Hormuz will be unblocked. So that's why he's trying to tell the mullahs, stupid, hey, unblock the effing strait, as he put it. Drop the F-bomb. You crazy bastards, as he put it. Or else I'm going to rain hell on you. So Bob supports the policy. He says hit him and hit him so hard they have no choice to either cry uncle or the people will come out and there will be an uprising and the mullahs will then be overthrown. Bob, thank you so much for that call. And again, thank you for your service. You know how much I love you guys. 617-266-6868. Is Bob right? Should Trump follow through and escalate the war? Finish the job. 617-266-6868. Paul in Wakefield. Thanks for holding, Paul, and welcome.
Hey, Jeff. Thanks for putting me on, and great show so far.
Thank you, Paul.
A word, just going back a couple minutes on the swearing of presidents, and just to read off a few titles of news articles, not my own words. Let's take a time travel machine back to 2015, 2014. Obama's swearing is nothing new for presidents. Top profanity in POTUS history. Oh, President Obama said a bad word. Now let's flip it over to Trump. Trump unleashes profanity-laced threat against Iran. Every time Donald Trump has been recorded as swearing on TV. Or my favorite, Trump F-bomb takes presidential profanity to a new level. Now, I can't believe, Jeff, there's some stuff about Iran and how much we're all worried about these things. It's all propaganda. Look, we get most of our oil from a lot of places. Iran is, it matters, obviously, but people are forgetting how much peace deals or treaties in the last 14 months that Trump has been working hard for. Look, I can't really defend him for everything that he does or says, right? And I'm sure people can agree with me there. And I think you might agree with me too, but there's Cambodia, there's Serbia and Kosovo deals. There was a lot of peace treaties within the last year. Iran was just last person in line, not really willing to negotiate. They're leaving out January how people were protesting and being just killed. So where do we go here? EU is right across, right there. The EU is doing nothing. And so I'm only 42, and in the last 50 years, all we know about is these guys are bad. What are we going to do about it? And no one does anything. So, Jeff, look, I know I'm not saying exactly the words that you say, but I'm a younger guy compared to some of the other people that listen in. But No,
Paula, I hear you loud and clear. There's no question. I hear you very loud and clear. Okay, it's time for Talk Back. Tit for tat. Your voices, your reactions, your heart. The true heartbeat of Kuhner country. We asked, you answered, and now we're sharing the best of this week's messages.
I say bring back the literacy test. I've been saying for decades that every vote should be counted if you can pass it.
Donald Trump, you always go by your gut feelings. Take some Pepto-Bismol and get back to being the Donald Trump that we voted for.
Jeff, 3 tweets a day is not being very active on X. I don't know who is telling you that that's being active. Quit lying just to get followers.
Mike. You cut the Kuhner man off. Not good, buddy.
Hey, Jeff, leave Mike alone. He plays the best rock and roll music on AM dial.
Ah, the bumper music, I can't stand it.
Hey, Jeff, can you say kaleidoscope?
No kings, no Mike-atolas.
Get me a towel. Stop looking at me. Time to deep six that ad.
By the time these idiots on the left realize what they've done, it will be too late.
So what, 3 tweets, 4 tweets? That doesn't do it for you. How many tweets you want? 10, 15, 20? I do have a life, for God's sake. And kaleidoscope. Are you happy now? And Mike, I've noticed a lot of those calls, for some reason, revolve around you, Mike. So I don't know if you're editing it that way or, what's going on. Yeah, Mike can say kaleidoscope, unlike me. So anyway, please keep them coming because we're going to do this every single Monday. 617-266-6868. Tom in New Hampshire. Thanks for holding, Tom, and welcome.
Hi, Jeff. Great show.
Thank you, Tom.
Happy Easter to you and your family.
Same to you. Best to you and your family.
Jeff, it's time to get out of that meat grinder. Let me explain why. Our soldiers are second to the best. They will do almost the impossible. Special forces, military, all of them. But our military commanders miscalculated this war. Let me explain why. We have $1 trillion budget, defense budget. Iran's defense budget is $23 billion. Yet they're holding us off Israel 5 weeks. As we speak, they're rebuilding their missile capabilities. Ukraine makes 4 million drones a year. They're being bombed constantly. They still make 4 million drones. We're on target, the United States, to make 300,000 drones in 2027. That's it. We're asking for $200 billion more. Iran's defense budget is $23 billion. So we keep bombing. They're going to keep rebuilding. The nuclear arsenal is probably buried somewhere, take months to get to. And God forbid, he starts bombing their infrastructure, electricity, whatever. The people there will hate us forever. They will come over here, the terrorists or whatever. You don't think they're going to try to do the same thing here? All I'm saying is that our military leaders miscalculated this thing. And it's time to get out before it gets worse. It's only going to get worse. It's not going to get any better. You can't just bomb, and it's going to end. They'll mow down their people if they protest. No one wins. So it's time to just get out of there. The strait will open up on its own. Europe will get involved. They'll get out. And the way we're fighting with Patriot missiles, $2 million a missile, they just signed a contract with Boeing and Lockheed to triple the output of Patriot missiles at $2 to $3 million each, and they're building drones for 5,000 to 10,000, and we're not. So there's something wrong that we couldn't wipe them out in 2 to 3 days. I'm sorry. Our military, our guys are the best, but at the top, it's miscalculation. It's not good.
So, Tom, basically what you're advising the president to do now is declare victory and go home. And
exactly.
Just end this now. Don't escalate. Don't follow through on the ultimatum. Just end this right now because this is quicksand. Did I lose Tom? Okay, well, technically, all right. So, okay, well, look, this story's not going anywhere. Believe me, the ultimatum is tomorrow.